Greetings everyone, Switch here. I decided to do the last review of Season 9, the episode The Last Problem. When I first saw this episode, even wasn't in Dutch, I I really didn't know expect to see much about this episode. I mean, this one was unlike any others. There were no particular any conflict or something in it, but this episode was actually focused on one thing. Twilight's moving from Ponyville back to Canterlot and to be the next ruler in our Equestria. But at the beginning of the episode we're seeing Canterlot as normal, but seems a bit has been grown in size a bit. There are both dragons and hippogriffs and ponies living in town. It seems after that, since the last episode for at the ending of the end, part 2, there has been gone a number of years, but how many I cannot say from certainty. But if I would guess, maybe I don't know, 10, perhaps maybe 10 or 20 years, because after that, as we can see, Twilight is not at her. She's not the person she used to be back in episode 25. She was still better who done now, but in the last problem, she has grown in size. I mean, mostly she's almost like flat, not Fluttershy, but almost the size of Celestia, and her mane is almost the same, but those sparkling stars in it, and I mean, there is one thing that has been. In the title synopsis it says, years from now, Princess Twilight is visited by a student with a friendship problem. As she attempts to solve it, she looks back at the times and she and the main six spent together. And at this time she has her own student, a new personal student named Luster Dawn, a unicorn. And I can also say that Spike had actually also, he has not only been Twilight's personal #1 student and student but assistant, but he also is the friendship ambassador. He's trying to keep the peace between all the kingdoms, and from his understanding, it is not that easy. It's not that easy, but it surprised me. Most of other fans or fan-made stories about Spike after he has been growing up in his late 20s or early 20s or something, he has grown size, even though that many wonders how will he looks like when he's older, except from the time when he's growing the size because of greed, but that is entirely differently. At first, in back season 8, when he grew wings, and now he has finally been seen as an grown adult. Well, I think in his early 20s or something. But that's something else. Even my friend, Cody Lane, he is very much a big fan of Spike and Rarities as a relationship. He was devastated that this series was going to end with this episode. He was had hope for more seasons, and I agree with him. I was really hoping for maybe another one or perhaps even past 10 more seasons. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But anyways, seeing that Spike is an ambassador of friendship, and it's still Twilight's #1 assistant, which is perfect understanding, but the most of that, seeing how much Twilight had grown in size, in mostly height, almost the same as Celestia, had the same type of mane as Celestia and Luna, that thing didn't surprise me. But there is just one thing though. Back in episode 17, when she was using this amulet, or this pendant, to her lower and rising sun. How about now? Once she has grown the size of Celesta, is it possible that she doesn't use that pendant anymore, and that she is is able to control the moon and the sun without it now? But it is possible because in the beginning, for Celestia and Luna, they might have some problems. So I'm not saying that wouldn't be. But the other side part of the story, how much this her student, Luster Dawn, didn't seem that she doesn't believe that she didn't need to have friends, and which shocked Spike. But Celeste Twilight, she was actually really outstanding, and she tried to convince her friendship is something that's very important. Even then she tells a story when she was going to be crowned as the ruler of Equestria. Seeing how much her friends are trying to help her for the last few days before it happened. I mean, seeing her being a bit worried and even start crying that they were not being able to see each other, sort of things. But something else has happened over time since then. I mean, her friends, they still meet every single time of their particular each month through some sort of the first friendship community. And even her friends hasn't moved on. Much of that has been happening over these past years. There has been a lot of great peace in all the kingdoms. There has never been any conflict, which it seems to be. But there is one thing, a scene where we see Twilight with Spike and Luster Dawn. They walking past some windows. One of those windows where we see how Twilight and her friends are using the elements against the Nightmare Moon and Discord. But there are a few others that hasn't been seen before. One seeing Flurryheart as an older version of himself, as in the Crystal Empire, which I believe that at this time now, is that Flurryheart is the now current ruler of the Crystal Empire. But that didn't surprise me nothing. But when I saw a different window piece, seeing how the young Six placed on the window, defeating someone or something, so that got me curious. Ever since back when in season 8 finale, when they used the elements, or they used the same type of the magical artifacts on each kingdom, could that means that they are the new element of harmony bearers? And is it possible that they had passed down that the responsibility for the elements has been passed down from the main Six to the young Six? They would explain that why, because they wouldn't not much explain why suddenly there are a window with the young Six on it. Without that, it would not be much explanation. But otherwise, that is the only explanation I think that the young Six are now the new bearers or new carriers of the elements. But otherwise, seeing how much Twilight misses her friends, even much of this has happened. I mean, there are, even in this episode, we can still see the statue of the former bad guys, Sherek, Chrysalis, and Cozy Glow. But most of all, even that Twilight is ready to be the next ruler, but she's still kind of worried if she's suitable to be the next ruler. Even she has proven over the past 8 seasons before then that she is very capable to be the next ruler, since she became a princess and she also had to be in the title, and she has been proving all along after she has been her friends, saving Equestria for numbers of times. So why would she still doubt herself? Which is normal. Even her friends try to convince her that she is ready to be that. So all of her friends are preparing for a coronation in Candelot. Like, Celeste Rarity had made some new threads, new fabrics from star spiders, which has been found in the old castle of the Royal Sisters, and which has this glowing effect on it, which is just amazing. And how much more about seeing how the friendship, and even see Rumble in the candled kitchen, which surprised me. I mean, I thought maybe he was. Perhaps it's possible that Rumble had found his passion in cooking after his brother showed it to him. Even though he wants to be a Wonderbolt, who knows? Maybe. Maybe he becomes a Wonderbolt or a chef or a cook. Who knows? But seeing how much of Applejack's family helping in the Cantlot, and even see how much the friends, like Big Mac, delivered some boxes, some crates with some apples for the Coronation Festival, the fest of for the party afterwards, which turns out to be a mistake. But even though, but seeing at the party itself, seeing some other characters has been back. Like during the coronation, when Celestia and Luna were talking to the crowd, we're seeing Amber and some of the dragons, some of the griffins, hippogriffs, and so many other characters. But doing so, we can notice at least two other characters in the crowd, Capper and Tempest Shadow. I was happy to see both of them in the crowd, but sadly they didn't speak at all, which shocked me. But at least we haven't seen them; they are back, and seeing that Capper is wearing the hat and the cape that Rarity made for him, and it is possible that Capper still remains in Equestria. I don't think he will move back to that desert town. I don't think so. But seeing that even Twilight are a bit worried, but also seeing her new dress for coronation, I have to admit that that is one of the best dresses that Rarity had ever made, especially for anyone. But I have to admit, this episode not only was one of the best of the season 9, but also it really touched my heart. I mean, seeing how this coronation didn't go as planned, that Rainbow had asked the Wonderbolts to perform a new tricks on the performance during the coronation, and it turns out there was still some work in progress on that, and yeah, that was probably from that part. But even that, one of the spiders that Fluttershy and Rarity used were still on Twilight's back during on the coronation, and that Luna noticed it. And things didn't go well with this plan, but everything went well afterwards as well. But doing so, went back to the present. Lazar Dawn still didn't believe all of this. That friendship, even that how they can still be friends even they haven't seen each other. But suddenly, all things happened. Pinkie arrives. Fluttershy arrives. And the others. But let's say for something has been happening with the main 6 over the years. Rarity is still a machine in fashion, but now seems to be open another fashion store in Yakistan, and that Rainbow Dash is the next captain in the Wonderbolts. Because in the episode, the ending, we're seeing how they're singing, but still of that, much has been differently. Seeing that there are new generation of Wonderbolts, and I think that ever since the other Wonderbolts are retired, that since they were a little bit older than Rainbow, it would explain why the Rainbow was chosen to be the next captain of the Wonderbolts. And yeah, about that, there were another confirmation of another shipping. Pinkie and See's Sandwich. And you heard me right. They were married and had a daughter named Lil Cheese. that is surprising me. There is finally another fan-made shipping with Pinky and C's sandwich. Sandy, he did return. Her husband, Cheese, did return in the episode, but Sandy by not playing a role. So yeah, but even other part, there were when Fluttershy appeared in the castle in the throne room, appeared open from a door, at least portal made from Discord, and he handed over a paper bag, and that said he couldn't come for because he was going to some sort of convention. But in that part, I believe, strongly believe, Discord and Fluttershy are officially shipping and even especially married. It would surprise me at all. I mean, Thundercord has been one of the longest shippings, one of the best since Discord appeared in the show. But otherwise in that, and also, there was another shipping that has been around since season 1. Lyra and Bonbon has finally been I admit, when I first saw the episode, when Twilight was looking through a newspaper in Ponyville, there was a scene, a picture, with the name Lyra, Bonbon, or Sweet Drops, which her name was actually, are married. They were married and they were standing on the train. And it was a heart in the same part. I mean, they were married. Finally, the shipping between Lyra and Bonbon are now official. That surprised me. And another thing is, since we know that Gummy has been Pinky's pet in a small size, but in season 9, at the ending, he is a massive alligator. Probably in the full size of a full-grown alligator. And that she's Sandwich and Pinky riding on his back. That did surprise me. I mean, sure, much of this episode has been really, really much happiness. But I have to say though, this episode didn't expect me much to see how much of this fandom has been growing over the past few years. But this episode proven how much we want things to happen. It has been showing to, I don't know, how much the fandom means not only to me but to many others. The show has been showing friendship is magical, and friendship always be strong. And seeing how much Twilight had a maturity as the next ruler, and that she has a new student who doesn't even believe friendship is something very important. But the main of the story is that Twilight and her friends actually managed to convince, or even telling her stories how the things happen and how they formed the first friendship community. Things that has been differently since Twilight became the ruler, and that her friends still were meeting her from time to time, and even much of that, it will show how much Twilight has grown over the years and how much the others has. And especially to see Twilight so much maturity. Seeing the others have been aged a bit, but Twilight seems not been aged at all, except that she has become taller, but still. But the most of seeing that Pinky of her friends are married. And seeing at the end of the episode where they visit Ponyville, trying to convince Luster Dawn how friendship is important. Seeing them visit the old school, which is now run by Starlight as the head mayor and Sunburst as the vice head mayor, and Trixie as the guidance counselor. And this also surprised me that the school has more griffins, more hippogriffs, and most of all, more dragons in students. But there is one other thing. the Crusaders are teachers at the school. When I saw a scene from Skulalu's class, there were a dragon, a young child dragon, who was same purple color, light purple as Spike. It seems to be having um, a green scale on his head, on his hair, on the head. I don't know how many amount of people say that is Spike's daughter, but who is the mother? I'm not much surprised. I would say Rarity. Rarity and Spike finally got married. But if that isn't proof, I don't know. But there is some hints showing that Spike and Rarity are married or having a kid together. But though there might be some fans might say, no, that's not Spike's daughter. That's even it's a dragon. It can be somebody else. There can be some other dragon's daughter who has been starring there. But I have to say though, even if that is possible, and also possibility could have been Rarity's and Spike's daughter, but it seems that when I saw, even that she was only seen briefly, her part of the mouth, the face, where she seems to be having like a beak as a griffin. Some things may be saying that indicates that is Spike and Gabby's daughter. But I have to say, even that Spike and Gabby were close friends, but I don't think they would end up in together. So my personal belief is that it is Spike and Rarity's daughter, even she seems to be showing some features of a griffin. But I believe that is Spike and Rarity's daughter. But there is one other thing that happened in the episode. We see Big Mac and Sugar Belle running the farm together. And they're still married and having a son together. It actually surprised me. First, 3 episodes back and forward, they were married in the Big Mac question. And now still married and have a son. And it's showing another part of the story has finally come to an end. With two shippings. Pinky with Sea Sandwich, Lyra and Bon Bon are officially as announced to be a pair and even married. I mean, many wonders, what about Octavia and Vinyl? Could they end up married? I probably would say that is a possibility. I mean, even though it was not seen in that episode, but still, it is a very likely it could happen, even if they didn't seen it. But the last episode, the last problem, was a really, really amazing episode. Even being can see that Twilight and her friends with the song managed to convince Luster Dawn that friendship is important. And that is nothing to be saying. Friendship is nothing to be had. That I shouldn't have friends. And there was another part of the theory I made a while ago, where saying what happened to school after Celestial School of Gift Unicorn, what had happened to it after Celestial had found Twilight. Well, I thought maybe is it possible that the school could have been closed since then? But it turns out it didn't close it down. Even as Twilight became the ruler of Equestria, but now she studied, teaching magic at the school. And I mean, that's a strong possibility that she's still open it. And since she has Luster Dawn as her personal student, it proves that. But now, things been showing much differently. Ever since Twilight became the prince, the ruler of Equestria, it has been a new era of peace. No wars, no conflict. All the kingdoms are living in harmony. Even dragons, griffins, hippogriffs were still working together as one friend is a big friendships. And they have even new students at the school. There was one older Griffin, maybe in his early teens, and a younger Griffin, maybe it's like, I don't know, 5, 10 maybe. But there's still about a few wonder dragons, but the young six, they were still in the castle at his school. It seems that Smolder Ocellus was still at the school, including Silverstream. What about Sandbar and Jonah? Well, I'd say that Sandbar with Jonah, they took over Rarity's boutique in Ponyville. And that seems very likely they are a couple as well. Oh, I almost forgot about Gallus. What happened to Gallus after that? He is no longer a student at the school. In fact, he didn't even move back to Griffinstone. He actually moved to Canterlot to be a royal guard. He became one of Select Twilight's royal guards, and he's even seen at the beginning of the episode when he's leading in Luster Dawn into the front room. I mean, from an orphan to a student to a royal guard, that surprised me the most. Seeing how much their lives have been differently afterwards. But the most, it shows how much impact how Twilight and her friends had on the young six. Seeing how much her friends have been growing over the past few years after Twilight took over. But I cannot say exactly how much happiness this has been to me. Seeing in how this great show had come to an end, even though I was deep down wishes it can continue for another 10 years. But sometimes shows have to come to an end, even though they're a great popularity. But I still was curious, how about the next Generation 5? How will that end up in? Will it be as much as a great success as Generation 4? Or will it be a failure? I don't know. Only time can tell. But overall, the last problem was an epic scenes of all. Seeing how much your friends has moved on in their lives, but even still continue to be friends, but the most, how friendship continued to grow even after all of this. I mean, friendship proves to be something very powerful, even if it doesn't believe that. And would I recommend this to anyone to see this episode? I will do that. I mean, this episode, it really, really touched my heart. Especially the end of the song, or this particular song, always makes me want to cry. Really. I don't know what others think about this song, but this song always makes me cry. I don't know why, but it has its at the same time a happy tone and in the end sad tone. I just feel happy when I listen to this song. It just always makes me smile. I I will listen to this song even long after the series end. This will always reminds me of the series. I cannot say of all the episodes of the series of the show itself, season 9 has the most absolute best episodes ever. Frenemies as the number one, and many others are afterwards to that. But this episode really touched my heart more than I ever can expect. And But yeah, I would give this episode an A++ rating. I mean, it is one of the best episodes I had ever seen of the entire show, except from Frenemies, but still, it is just one of the best. And yeah, and if everyone has your own opinions, your thoughts about this show, or at least about this episode, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, this is Switch Download, over and out.